Good evening and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. I appreciate everybody that is tuned in already. If you're a reoccurring person that comes and watches the show, thank you so much. But if this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for joining, and I hope I don't scare you away. There is a lot to get to today. As always, I'm just going to give you the quick rundown. Make sure that wherever you're watching this from, you subscribe. You follow all of my accounts down below: YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok. I have my link tree. It'll give you a link to every single one of those platforms. Or you can just search up the 716 Playbook on all my platforms, and I will show up. Wherever you are watching, make sure you like and make sure that you also comment throughout the show. I will try my best to put your comment down, even if it's a thought, a question, if you don't like what I said, disagreement, whatever. If you guys want to talk to each other, that's fine. Again, just be kind, be respectful. But this show is just as much for you guys as it is for me. So I just want to put that out there as always. If you are listening and you don't typically watch, or if you're watching this as it's already recorded, and you typically just kind of listen along and you're not really watching, make sure you look at the camera real quick, and you just give a little bit of appreciation. We have a new camera. Again, I'm going to continue to do little improvements here and there. A new camera for this episode, and moving forward, it is a nice 4K HD camera. So hopefully that also clears up the videos as well a little bit as we move forward. Throughout this offseason, especially with the Bills being on the offseason, and as the Sabres are kind of, winding down on their season, and, with the University of Buffalo kind of ending their school year soon and kind of everything moving towards the summer, there's not going to be as much content. But with that, I'm going to use a lot of my downtime to kind of come up with new ways that I can implement different content and lives and pre-recorded videos and shorts and all sorts of things. So I'm going to be trying to implement new things. And my goal this year is to kind of make this a multi-video, live show platform. I have a lot of ideas and interests, and I have people that are helping me with that as well. But just giving you guys an update, we are going to be moving some things around, adding some more content. There's nothing that's going to be going away. If anything, everything's going to be getting better. So nobody freak out or worry. But for the most part, me giving updates on X, on Instagram, posting shorts everywhere on YouTube and TikTok, and so be it. All those things that'll all stay the same. But kind of the rundown of what the shows will be offering, kind of breaking down, more live shows, not just doing it on Tuesday nights. There's so many ideas I have. And I just want to keep you guys all in the loop. Again, make sure that you stay connected on YouTube, X, Instagram, and TikTok. You run through all those platforms. I'm going to be giving up news updates too. And as things happen, I will be, announcing them on there. Because again, this is not just a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock thing. I am constantly giving updates on games as they happen as well. So that even if you can't watch them, you can tune in on X, tune in on Instagram, and I'll be giving you kind of a live update of what's going on. We are obviously going to be talking about the big game that just happened on Sunday. But before we do, we have some other greater teams to talk about in the Buffalo area. We're going to start with the Buffalo Bison. Season starts in 45 days. It's also our opening day. Luckily, our first game is at home. We will be playing the Rochester Red Wings. Excited for the season to start. Again, not much off-season news. We're just kind of waiting until the season starts, and we'll see. As the season begins, so will the Blue Jays, who are the MLB-affiliated team with the Buffalo Bison. They will kind of be moving players around, adding, releasing, and that kind of affects us a lot. So obviously, as we move forward in 45 days, there will be a lot more off-season, a lot more regular season news to talk about. There's not a lot of off-season news right now. But again, really, really excited for the season to start. We are going to open this up with the Bandits. There's not a lot to talk about with the Bandits. We are coming off an amazing win against Albany. That happened over a week ago. There's been no new game since the last time we met. There's not a lot of news. They were just practicing, getting ready for the big weekend. This upcoming weekend, we are not just playing one team. We're playing two teams. We're playing two games back-to-back Friday and Saturday night. It's going to be a very exciting weekend. We start out on Friday night. We're going to play the Toronto rock. We played them once in Buffalo. We beat them 15-13. Now we're going to be playing them in Toronto. And then Saturday night, it's going to be in Buffalo, so we'll travel back to Buffalo. It's really like it's like a 30-mile drive. So we'll be traveling back to Buffalo, right across the lake there. I guess that's a lake, right? It's right across Lake Erie. All right, right across the lake there. Going back into Buffalo. At 7:30 on Saturday night, we're going to be playing the San Diego Seals. It's the first time playing them this season. They are 4-5. They're not doing so great, but they are coming off of a win against Toronto. So, it should be making for an exciting game on Saturday night. Not only is that going to happen Saturday night, but the Bandits have announced that they are breaking out a new jersey, which will be worn on Saturday night's game against the San Diego Seals at home. This team is going to cause me to be broke. Obviously with the merch you see I'm wearing now, the jerseys look amazing. I'm kind of glad that I waited to buy a jersey until now, because the new jersey that have just been announced today, they look amazing. Over the weekend I was able to go to Western New York to visit some family, watch the big game on Sunday night, and I made some very destructive purchases on Saturday. I went around to like 10 different Buffalo stores, and I bought a bunch of stuff. As you can see, I'm wearing my Bandit stuff today. I bought a bunch of Sabres stuff, bought a bunch of Bill stuff, and it really enriched myself even more into the Buffalo sports world. Obviously, I love my Buffalo sports teams, and I didn't have a lot of things outside of the Bills, so I'm kind of glad that I was able to branch out. But anyways, that was just a quick little update on my destructive purchases. Hopefully we win against both teams at the end of the weekend. We will be 8-0 if we win. If we come off this back-to-back game weekend with 2 wins, we will be 8-0. Just a great way to start the season. And I'm super excited to see what that leads us going into the playoffs. So, all right, we are now going to move on to the University of Buffalo women's basketball team. We lost 2 games. Don't know what happened. I have no idea why all of a sudden we just started losing. But we are still second in the conference. That's good. We are 8-3 in the conference, 19-4 overall. We were on a 2-game losing streak. Ball State is still in first place. They're 11-0 in the conference. They actually lost 1 game since the last time we've met too. So, there's still time. The window closed in now because with Ball State losing in the last week, that gave us a great opportunity to kind of give a leg up on them, and we just couldn't do that. So again, even if we won both games, we would still be behind them, but it would be by a less of a margin. So again, kind of disappointed, but that's okay. We lost against Toledo. It was a heartbreaking game. We lost 58-55. It was a record-breaking crowd. Over 4,000 people in attendance in Buffalo to watch this women's basketball game. We were down 17-6 at the end of the first quarter. We really fought back. We had it tied with 11 seconds. Drilled a 3, tied with 11 seconds. They drilled a 3 with 5 seconds left, and then we missed a shot. It was over. We failed to convert. Being down 17-6 at the end of the first quarter, I was watching it thinking there's no way we're going to come back. We were able to come back, but it wasn't enough to win the game. The game against Coastal Carolina was a little bit different. They're not even in our conference. They beat us 73-65. At the end of the first quarter, we were only down by 4 points. And we were up at the end of the first quarter. I apologize. We were up at the end of the first quarter. We were down 30-26 at the half. We just really struggled in the third quarter. We had a great opportunity to come out of the second half with kind of a fresh mind, only down 4 points going into the third quarter. We only hit 3 of our 11 shots. And we could not rebound. So there was a big struggle on both sides of the ball. Not only were we not making the shots, but we couldn't even get the rebound back. And that kind of led Coastal Carolina to a lot of second chance opportunities for them. Even on defense, we couldn't get the rebound, which again gave Coastal Carolina a bunch of offensive rebounds, which gave them a lot of second chance opportunities. We did outscore them in the fourth quarter. We fought hard, but it was not enough to any means. So we ended up losing by about 8 points, 73-65 against Coastal Carolina in Carolina. Next game that we play, the women's basketball team will be Saturday. Luckily, they have a little bit of a break. They play February 15th, so that'll be this Saturday at 1 p.m. against Ohio University in Ohio. They are the bottom of our conference. They are not doing well. I think they're 2-9 in our conference. They're just not good. So it will be away, though. So there's always a chance that they now have home court, and we are struggling. So there's always a chance. But, again, we need to capitalize on that game. The men's basketball team is a completely different story. We lost both games. I don't get this team. We are not good. We are now 11th in Mid-American Conference. We're 2-8 in the conference, 7-16 overall. We lost 87-74 against Toledo in Toledo. We got outscored both halves, and at the halftime we were down 42-32. We could not get much momentum in that game, and the team just really struggled. We lost against Georgia State 80-75. We were down 38-31 in the first half. We did fight back in the second. We outscored them in the second 44-42. But a lot of those points were throwaway. At the end of the game, they'd already sealed the game. It was over. So again, in my opinion, it looks a lot closer than it was. We lost to Georgia State. We do play tonight. That game just started, and I can check it real quick for you guys. We are up 5-4 against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, it's going to be in Northern Illinois. They're the worst team in our conference. They're right below us. Hopefully we can get the win, get some pride from this win, get some sort of momentum from it. We are on a 3-game losing streak. They're on a 4-game losing streak, so they're more desperate for the win than we are. So that might and they're at home. That might push them to want the win harder than we do. Again, season is over for the men's basketball team, so there's not much there to fight for until the end of the season. I have no idea what playoffs even look like right now. It's not good. It's really not good. We're obviously not making March Madness. The women's basketball team, there might be a chance. I don't with national rankings. I don't know. But the men's basketball team, it's just what do you play for now, right? So I'm kind of curious to see how they do. Again, we'll check the score before I end it. I know I always say that, and I never end up doing it. I'm going to actually do it this time. So before the live is over, I will make sure to tune back in and see what is going on with that game. Now we are going to move into the Sabres. If you think I'm moving kind of quickly with these, I am. I have a lot to talk about with the football side of things. So I'm going to try to move this along as quickly as possible so that I can get some more content for obviously off-season news for the Bills and also what's going on with the Sunday game. We're going to be talking about the Sabres for the next couple minutes. We split the last 2 games. We beat the Blue Jackets and we lost against the Predators. We are still 8th in our division. We are 22-27-5. We are now back to a 0.9% chance of making the playoffs. We are still not the team with the worst odds. The Flyers are still below us. Again, just shout out to any of those Philly fans out there. Sabres are doing better than you right now with the odds, so I will take that. So again, we are not the worst team. So you're saying there's a chance. But yeah, the Blue Jackets game, it was a little rough. The beginning of this game really irked me. We opened to a fight. So puck dropped and we started swinging hands. We did this because if you don't remember the game prior against the Devils, we failed at sticking up for Tage Thompson. If you don't know, I'll jog your memory real quick. We played against the Devils. This was, I think it was last Sunday. We played against the Devils. Tage Thompson had a nasty hit. And instead of fighting or instead of sticking up for your guy, 2 seconds later, as Thompson's still on the ice, you have 3 Sabres and a couple Devils guys just sitting there talking. You shouldn't be talking. That it was a hard hit. There's too much on the line. You're already fighting for a playoff chance, and now like there was just like dignity poof gone. It was just a terrible. So anyway, since the media obviously had a lot of backlash to that, they opened the game to a fight. So first things first, you're not playing the Devils anymore. You're playing the Blue Jackets. So you fighting them doesn't really do much. Not only that, but our head coach claims that it wasn't planned and it was not encouraged by management, but it was rather team-led and they had no idea. Really? You're really going to make me believe that? I doubt it. This is not the first time the Sabres have done this too. The Sabres in history have repeatedly missed out on a chance to stick up for their teammates, and then after the media says something about it and goes, "Oh, that was a great opportunity for you to fight them, a great opportunity for you to come in and stick up for your teammate." Once the media steps in, then they come out the next game and fight. You're fighting against the wrong team, so why are you doing it? Either way, it's very disgraceful. It's one game too late. We aren't playing the Devils anymore. You had your chance to stick up for Thompson, and you didn't do it. We did win the game 3-2. We did go into the third quarter. I do that every time. We went into the third period 3-1. They scored once, but they couldn't score it twice. The game came down way too close. It just came down way too close. We should have scored in the third quarter. We should have marked it off and all right, game over. We're up by at least 2 in the third. There's not much more you could bounce back from. No, instead, we let them score once. They almost scored twice, and we could not score in the third period. Did I say the third quarter again? I say, oh my gosh, third period. We almost had this game taken from us in the third period, right at the end. There's no reason for it. Absolutely no reason for it. But yeah, I'll take the win. Again, it's just sloppy. So when we lose, we really lose. And then when we win, we sloppily win. So it's just a losing battle on both sides. We played the Predators. We lost 6-4. We were tied 2-2 at the end of the first period. We then moved in. We led 3-2 in the second. But then they were able to score quickly. They scored twice. And then our defense just kind of crumbled late in the later two periods. We just couldn't do much. Our offense could not keep up with it. It was in shambles, just absolute shambles. So that game was just kind of a bust as well. Again, Predators, hard fought win for them, but it was just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a Sabres fan to continue to talk about this team and how little they want to fight on both sides of the ice, because you can't allow 6. You can't allow 6. So our goalie also needs to answer for that as well. Next game is not until next Saturday. So not this upcoming Saturday, but next Saturday, the 22nd. They have a 2-week break. That game on Saturday will be against the Rangers. They have about 2 weeks to rest up. Okay, so rest up, because if there's any possibility of us making the playoffs, this is the break. You got to do it. So hopefully they come off this break rested, and hopefully moving into the later half of the season, we can really come out. Could we make the playoffs? Yes. We still have the possibility. We have a very low possibility of making the playoffs. They would need to win more than half their games, and they would need to rely on the other teams to kind of have like a losing streak. To me, that seems not impossible, but it's not like that likely. Again, not impossible, but I don't know. We have consistent scores. Alex Tuch, Tage Thompson. We have decent scores. They're consistent. Our goalie is decent. I would not call him great. I like Luukkonen, but he's not the best. Our defense needs to step it up. Can't be allowing this many points. We just have to fight. You have to fight. We just won 4 straight games. I know that we can do it, but will we? I don't know. So again, we have a little bit of a break from the Sabres. So next week there's not going to be much to talk about with them. just because there's not going to be any new games happening this week. So again, if you go on any of my platforms and you're like, why isn't talking about the Sabres this week? There's not going to be much news coming out. Guys are getting rested, guys are getting healthier. And with our GM, there's not going to be like any like big massive changes happening this break. So again, so there's something to look forward to, something to look at. Maybe the possibility of the Sabres going to the playoffs. Don't hold your breath, but there's still a chance at the break. That's better odds than last year. So the fact that we still have a chance at the break, I'll take it. All right, we're going to move into the Bills, the Buffalo Bills. Right off the bat, we're going to announce some breaking news headlines that just happened about 1 hour ago. The Bills signed Chris Tabor, former Panthers interim head coach. He was hired right after they fired Frank Reich. He does not have like a great record with them. Okay, don't blame him. You just got inherited the Panthers. You're not going to be able to do much with that. But he has about 15 years of NFL special teams coordinator experience. He was a special teams coordinator for the Bears, the Browns, and the Panthers. Yes, you might hear those names and think, oh, those are terrible teams. Okay, cool. But you need to look into their special team stats. He's a very decent special teams coordinator. So I am kind of looking forward to that. He has coaching experience since the mid-90s, back when he was at Missouri. So again, there's a lot of potential here with our special teams game. And the only way is up. We will get into that in a minute, but that's something that we definitely needed. We definitely needed some work on. So hiring him to come in, that's huge. He did take a year off. I believe it was only 1 year. He did take a year off of a break. So now that he's back in the league, he's coming back and he is going to be wearing the blue and red colors. So that is exciting. Look forward to seeing what he can do for our special teams. Now, this question that I'm going to continue to raise every single week is, does Brandon Beane, our GM, make a big splash in the offseason? Well, who knows? Who knows? Every day I read a new article about some new player that is available. Okay, that doesn't, and apparently every player in free agency right now has the top contender team being the Buffalo Bills. Okay, well we can't get them all. So either all of these articles need to talk to each other so that there's a little bit more of reality to this. Like, who are we most likely to get? Not just because they're a free agent. Yeah, technically, if they're a free agent, anybody could be a contender for them. We'll kind of break into that in a second. We're going to first talk about Josh Allen, baby. Josh Allen won his first MVP award on Thursday night. He gave an amazing MVP speech. Like always, his speech was about everybody else but himself. It was probably one of the most humble speeches the whole night. And it was also the most self-interested award. I mean, that award is an individual award. It's not a team-based award. Yet he somehow made it seem like it was a team-based award. He almost made it seem like he was inheriting the MVP award on behalf of the Bills. His famous ending to the famous ending to this speech was, "Be good, do good, God bless, go Bills." Well, you'll be seeing all of that smacked on sweatshirts, shirts, pants, hats for the next year or so, until he wins the next one. But again, his speech was just amazing. Not only did I love his speech, but the camera pans out to all these people in the audience, and everybody stands up. They're all clapping and smiling, and they just look genuinely happy for him. If there's one of the most, lovable players in the league, it's Josh Allen. The most adversity, yet by all odds, he continues to break those odds. So as a Buffalo Bills fan, I love Josh Allen. Very grateful for him, and very grateful to see what he can do moving forward, because I really just think we're just getting started. I don't think that we still got 7 to 12 prime years with Josh Allen, until 12 years until he's 40. He's only 28. So just imagine what he could continue to do. Every year he gets better. So, he thanked his parents, his fiance, even, Slick Rick in the mailroom. I watched that video. Go onto the Buffalo Bills platform, wherever. Go on the website. Go on Instagram. Go on TikTok, Facebook, X. The video they showed a video of Slick Rick, kind of reacting to him getting called out in the speech, and it's amazing. Like, this guy is, he's what he calls himself as a normal person. He's just a normal person. Just has a job in the organization. Yet Josh Allen took the time to call him out, because every player, every worker, every spouse, everybody, every child, every person that is attached to that organization has some sort of impact on that team. And that's what he meant by that. Even the guy in the middle room, Slick Rick, he matters to the team too. Again, it was just an amazing speech. After he won the award, he was given a tablet, and it was all these children from the children's hospital that he volunteers at, and they were all thanking him and congratulating him, and they kept saying, you're my MVP, and he's tearing up. And not only does he, the part that I love the most about this is that he is calling every single child by name. So he's like, oh, that's Hannah. Oh, that's Abby. He knows every single child on that video. And there's got to be at least 10 to 15 kids that pop up. And it's spectacular. It just shows who Josh Allen is. He doesn't just go out for publicity. He genuinely loves the community, loves Western New York. When his grandmother passed away, they had a whole wing in the hospital dedicated just to her. I think that's when he knew that, that not only does the town love him, but that he loves the town. So he would make anybody cry. It really would. It would really make anybody cry if you watch the video. Again, you can go on any platform that the Bills are on, look it up online. You can see the video for yourself of him, taking the tablet and watching that video. It was really special. Just to end out that all with the MVP speech, Josh Allen said, all he does is play football. Yet, every child looks to him like the hero. But what they don't know is that he looks at all of them as the hero, because all those kids in that hospital, they're fighting every day. They're fighting for their life. And that gives him enough, motivation to go out there and play the sport for Western New York. And it's a great thing. Being able to, I don't know, there's just something very special about that. So, I love Josh Allen. Very grateful for him. And I'm so glad that he is on the team. Outside of the MVP award, Josh Allen won 2 other awards that night. He won the Air and Ground Award. Jamar Chase and himself won that. He won the air part, and then Jamar Chase won the ground part. And then he also won the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. Well, he was voted this season as the biggest trash talker in the league, but he is still also voted as the player with the most sportsmanship. So that's something. Also, beginning of the season, Josh Allen was rated the most overrated by all the people in the league. So they had a wide range voting in the league, and everybody voted that he is the most overrated player. Well, he just won MVP. So much for that overrated. Again, he did all this in one season. He has, done so much for Western New York, done so much for the organization. I'm going to say this and this only. The MVP award does not mean he is the best offensive player. The MVP award means that he is the most valuable player. And guess what? If you put Josh Allen next to any other players that were the finalists, Josh Allen was the most valuable to his team. And I'm not saying that any other guy wasn't equally as good of a player. Lamar Jackson is a very good quarterback, but he also has Derrick Henry. Okay, that is a huge dual threat, because not only does the defense have to match the run, but they also have to match the pass. Okay, then you go to somebody like Jared Goff, who has a great receiver team and an amazing O-line. Great. Then you go to somebody like Saquon Barkley, who, as a running back, has the best blockers, but also has Jalen Hurts, who can also throw the ball like we just saw on Sunday. To me, Josh Allen is the most valuable. You take any of those guys off the team, Josh Allen is going to impact the Bills way more than any other team. The Eagles were doing amazing things without Saquon. I'm not taking anything away from Saquon, but he is not the most valuable player. Lamar Jackson, if you take him off the Ravens, you put any other decent quarterback in there, they're still going to they're going to do great things. You have Derrick Henry on your team. That's, you have 9 Pro Bowlers on your team. So the whole conversation, the whole argument, it's over. It's over. I'm very glad that it's over. I'm very grateful that Josh Allen won. He deserves it, in my opinion. I don't expect anything different from anybody rooting for their player on their team. Okay, I know you're going to make any argument or any excuse, but again, it's over. So stop complaining about it. Just focus on next season. Focus on the offseason. Now that the NFL season is over, the playoffs are over. Josh Allen had a 4.17% percentage for plays with a sack, fumble, or interception in a single season. That was the lowest percentage. So he had 4.17% of his entire plays. Only 4.17% of those plays ended in a sack, fumble, or interception. That's the lowest in a single season since 1970. Wow. Coming off that last year, Josh Allen had like the most interceptions in a very long time. I mean, he had way too many turnovers. So he went from having one of the worst turnover seasons to having one of the best turnover seasons. So again, every season, it seems like Josh Allen learns a new lesson, from stop acting like Superman, stop relying on passing the ball, rely on the run game more, short passes, not long passes, stop running it yourself. This isn't a one-man wide receiver room, and you don't just have Stephon Diggs, you have a whole team behind you. Clean up the turnovers. He does it. Every single season, he continues to get better, and he continues to I think he listens to the media a lot. I think he says, okay, this is exactly what they're saying I'm doing wrong, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it up and clean it up. He's only 28. He still has a lot of life left in the NFL, and hopefully that starts and ends in Buffalo. I could not imagine the Bills team without him, even if he gets seriously injured, even if he gets out of his prime, if he starts declining, if he's not doing as well, okay, then keep him on the team, give him a minimum veteran contract, and let him start coaching the next quarterback that you pick up. But do not get rid of Josh Allen, whatever you do. He deserves to stay in Western New York. So now kind of moving on to some like off-season news. Again, every time I read an article, it's always like, this guy wants to come, or this guy wants to go to Buffalo, or Buffalo wants this guy. Okay, relax, guys. Apparently, the next big thing is that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, sources have told that they want Hollywood Brown. Okay, you ask most teams, they want Hollywood Brown. Okay, that's like saying like, oh, the Golden State Warriors or the Cleveland Cavaliers, they want to pick up Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, any team would. Like, not comparing Hollywood Brown to Giannis Antetokounmpo, especially after that Super Bowl performance. But again, Hollywood Brown is a decent running wide receiver. Why wouldn't you want him? Again, that would be a very big offensive signing. That would kind of clear up a lot of wide receiver room too. Especially if we lose Amari Cooper, we don't re-sign him. But again, I don't know. I'm just gonna stop, looking into all this, because it just gets me so hyped up that like this is what the team could look like. You could have Max Crosby and Myles Garrett on your defensive line, and then on top of that, you can also get it's ridiculous. You could have Hollywood Brown, and apparently the next big guy that wants to come to Buffalo is Javon Holland from the Dolphins. And could you imagine this team, how stacked it would be if all these guys continue to come to Buffalo? Yeah, it's not going to happen. They're not all going to go to Buffalo. They all want money. That's a big driving force, and there's not enough cap space. So again, I just love that. I love the hype that all these players could come to Buffalo. Yeah, they all could, but they could also go to the other teams. So stop freaking out. Our special teams coordinator, obviously, as you know, since we just added a new guy, we just released, our old special teams coordinator a couple days ago. He has been officially released. We have now officially signed the next guy. Matthew Smiley has had a couple pretty big blunders, especially this year. Our special teams was not prepared at all. I don't know what this guy's been doing, but whatever he's been doing, whatever kind of time he has on practice, it's not going well. Bills averaged 25.9 yards for a kick return. That's not even the 30 yards you need. So that's cool. So we didn't even average enough to get to the 30 yard. We might as well have just touched back every time we could have. And we only average 11.6 yards per punt return. Again, especially with who we have, that should not be the case. Against Denver in the playoffs, they were able to convert a 4th down fake punt. That's pitiful. They should never be able to do that, especially on, I think it was like a 4th and long. I don't even think it was like a 4th and 2. Not only that, the New England Patriots were able to do it on us in the regular season. So now you have 2 teams in one season that were able to convert 4th down fake punts on us. That's ridiculous. Not only that, but Kansas City last playoff was able to. We failed at a 4th down punt last season in the playoffs against Kansas City. So again, we also allowed for 2 touchdown returns. One of them being against the Rams, where we lost 44-42, and it was a blocked punt. I'm very glad that we got rid of him. That was probably one of the bigger things that people were yelling about. On the coaching staff wise to get rid of. We need to get rid of our special teams coordinator. Sean McDermott at the end of the season when we lost against Kansas City, one of the questions asked by the media was, "Are you going to keep Matthew Smiley?" Sean McDermott said yes. Very confidently, he said yes. Well, within 2 weeks, we got rid of him and we signed a new person. So, I don't know what that tells you, but maybe they had a change. Maybe he had a change of heart. Maybe the GM and him were not talking. Maybe Brandon and him were not talking about it as much. But clearly, that is on the minds of many people, was to get rid of Matthew Smiley. Moving into the offseason, what do the Buffalo Bills need to focus on? Well, we need to clean up our defense. Focus on the defense. Our quarterback situation is not a problem. Our O-line is one of the best in the league. We have a great running back with 2 really good running back depths, and I think we're going to re-sign Ty Johnson, so I'm not really worried about that. Our wide receiver room will only be improving into the next season, and with possible small pickups and drop-offs, releases, trades. Focus on the defense, please. Outside of the realm of maybe picking up a wide receiver, maybe getting rid of this guy, maybe having to leverage this guy, picking up this guy. Focus on the defense, please. I think also, Ed Oliver got a lot of hate this season. There's also a lot of pressure on Ed Oliver because outside of him and Greg Russo, Von Miller is very inconsistent. You can't put that much pressure on Ed Oliver. I still think Ed Oliver is a great tackle. I don't think he's a bad D lineman at all. So it kind of breaks my heart that some of these players are getting so scrutinized because they don't have help. So get help. Sign a Myles Garrett, sign a Max Crosby, get some help on the D line. Pick up a new cornerback. Man, our cornerback room is apparently not doing very well. Pick up somebody. Obviously our safeties need help. Either release DeMar Hamlin. Or don't sign him back. Really, don't release him because he's on the team. Lean more into Cole Bishop. Do something with the safety room as well. Taylor Rapp again should not be. It should not make or break a game when one safety and one cornerback is out. Yet it did massively. It broke our defense. So again, focus on our defense and get it cleaned up. We saw how much a defense matters on Sunday night. The Eagles came out and they had the best defense, which is a great way for me to transition right into the Super Bowl. Yes, obviously the Super Bowl just happened. Super Bowl 59. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Chiefs 40-22. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. The Chiefs looked awful. It was great. In the biggest game of their lives, to go down as the best dynasty in NFL history, they choked. Oh my gosh, they choked. The Eagles were just having fun out there. It didn't even look like they were trying. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to be real honest with you right now. The Eagles were just floating around. They were just enjoying that game. Not only that, but it's gone down as the worst Patrick Mahomes career game ever. His stats are not true to that representation. But again, this was the worst game in his career. In the third quarter, the Eagles led 34-0. The Eagles had 6 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. That is the most in Patrick Mahomes' career history. He has never gotten sacked that many times. Josh Sweat had 2.5 sacks in the game. He led the Eagles in sacks. Hurts had a 77% completion rating for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, which the interception was on a 3rd and long. It was an arm punt. That's what I'm going to call it. It was an arm punt. So Mahomes, on the other hand, he was 21 of 32. He had 257 yards. He had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That stat line makes Mahomes sound so much better in that game than it actually was. When you hear that it was 34-0 in the third quarter, that kind of gives you an idea of how the game was. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Watching that game with my family, they were probably a little annoyed because I refused to just be like, oh, yeah, the game's over. It wasn't until the Eagles were at 34-0 that I finally was like, okay, this is pretty much out of the realm of possibility. But also when I've seen Tom Brady do it against the Falcons, where I think it was like 28-3 with like a couple minutes left in the third quarter, to me, I'm like, okay, it was 27, 27-0 or 28 or whatever it was. It was, Eagles pretty much practically had almost 30 points to 0. In my opinion, I was like, okay, there's still a chance that the Chiefs could do it. Once the Eagles got up to 34-0, it was over. I pretty much at that point has lost all doubt that the Chiefs could even come back. Now my family's calling me Tony Romo because, I was like, oh, well, we know what this team can do. But that's annoying part about the Chiefs is that's true. And I don't feel like even Eagles fans, I'm going to be honest with you, I believe truly that even Eagles fans watching that game were thinking in the back of their mind, they know about the 28-3 game and they know how much the refs love to side with the Chiefs, that this game could really easily turn at any moment. Like, it's not over. Again, once the Eagles were up 34-0, at my point, I was like, all right, this is a pretty comfortable lead. In the first half, Patrick Mahomes was 6 for 14, and he had 33 yards overall and 2 interceptions. Both interceptions happened in the first half. He just didn't do well at all. He looked terrible, absolutely terrible. He did throw an interception to Cooper DeJean, which was Cooper DeJean's first ever career interception, and that was for 38 yards. So Patrick Mahomes actually had more yards in the first half to Cooper DeJean than he did to his own teammates. Again, it's great. It's great. Cooper was, defensive rookie of the year, and he was also the same player that was able to pick up Derrick Henry at the legs and slam him down into the ground. I don't know if you've seen that video. Go look at it. It was amazing. So Cooper he's going to do some great things. The Eagles have the best luck with defenders. They're doing great on the defensive line, on the defensive end of things. So, I got to give it. I really do have to give it to the Eagles. They are doing some great things for their defense, and it's paying off. Their GM deserves a lot of credit because of how he was able to masterfully kind of play this entire team. When they got rid of Swift, a lot of people were very upset and had no idea why, right? And then you pick up something like Saquon, you're like, okay, it makes sense, right? The way that he's been able to leverage players, leverage money, keep cap space available. I mean, he's been doing great things. It was a complete breakdown for the Chiefs O-line the entire game. That Eagles D-line was just explosive. Patrick Mahomes had a 10.9 passer rating in the first half of the Super Bowl. That is the third worst first half all season for any quarterback. So Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, in the biggest game of his life, to be the first team to have a three-peat, he completely choked and had the third worst first half all season with any team. He finished overall. His quarterback rating overall was 11.4. That's the second worst in his entire 133 career starts. A lot of that was because of the Eagles, because of their defense. I will give a shout out to Xavier Worthy. I thought he did a really good job. Xavier Worthy was 8 for 8. He had 157 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. That performance will not be talked about. Nobody's going to want to talk about that. I'm going to, point it out. I have a very, unbiased opinion about both teams, so I will call it out. I guess I don't. I guess I have a biased opinion. I wanted the Eagles to win. Give me a break. I can't. I just don't like. I don't like the Chiefs. But Xavier Worthy he's doing some great things. There's a lot of potential for the Chiefs with him. At least, in a big game in his rookie year, to be able to put up 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't care who you are, even if you're a Philly fan, that's a great stat line, at least for him. The defense, it wasn't great. The Chiefs defense was not great. They allowed a lot of points in passing, but they did hold Barkley to 57 yards overall with no touchdowns. If you would have told any Chiefs fan before the game that, hey, your team held Saquon Barkley to the lowest amount of yards all season at 57 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2.3 yards a carry, and his longest run will be 10 yards. The Chiefs think that they're going to win by 30, yet they lost 40-22. I'm not going to say much bad things about the defense. I really don't think that the Chiefs defense was the problem. I think the Eagles defense was the problem for the Chiefs. It just seemed like the Chiefs were outcoached. They had this plan walking in, to walk in, hold Saquon, and they were going to get, they were going to hold the Eagles somehow if they just held Saquon, which they did, but it didn't turn out in their favor. The Eagles were very quick to just turn everything around. They didn't need Saquon. Let's just run. Let's just throw the ball. You don't need to run the ball. It just seemed like that was a completely outcoached moment. The Chiefs, I think in the back of the mind, were thinking, take the win, get some calls to go their way, write themselves in the history books. It's over. And the Eagles said, no. This is not how this game is going to turn out. It was also probably one of the worst games I've ever seen for Steve Spagnuolo. It just showed how consumed that he was in Saquon, that the Eagles anticipated it and just flipped the whole script on them. You don't need to use Saquon when you have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And Saquon actually had 7 receptions. So they were able to throw Saquon 7 times. Jalen Hurts had 72 yards rushing. So you were actually able to stop Saquon, yes, but you couldn't stop Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had more yards than Saquon did. So Jalen Hurts had 72 yards rushing and a tush-push touchdown. That's a historical stat for Super Bowl history. Yeah, again, just a complete breakdown on the Chiefs. Another really weird thing to note is that Harrison Butker never got to kick the ball. So they never got in field goal range. I don't think that they got past the 50-yard line. The Chiefs didn't get past the 50-yard line at all in the first half. So Harrison Butker never got a chance to get into field goal range for him to kick it. And then every touchdown was towards the end of the game, and they needed 2-point conversions. So they never got into field goal range. That's like the weirdest thing. So Harrison Butker never got to kick the ball. Another thing to note is that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes going into this game, there was like the energy aura conversation where for some reason these two, even through all odds, can, all season, they haven't had this electric energy, but for some reason it's going to open up in the Super Bowl magically. And, Travis Kelce one-time touchdown is like an easy parlay stat, leg to have. No, It wasn't. So Travis Kelce had 39 yards. He had 4 plays and no touchdowns. His longest play was 13 yards. There was nothing for them. Travis Kelce and Mahomes did not have that electric energy that they usually have. But if you stop looking at like historical moments or like back end things and start looking at what's just happening in the moment, a monkey could have told you that Travis Kelce was not going to have the same game that he did last Super Bowl. Stop opening up this narrative that Mahomes comes to life in these moments. He clearly doesn't. And I might just be like a bitter Bills fan talking, but talk to most fan bases, that's true. Like Patrick Mahomes in years past has done amazing in the regular season, and it showed that, okay, he's going to be really good in the Super Bowl. This year, they were so yes, they got a lot of wins. A lot of them were shaky wins. A lot of them were very close wins. And then you can't expect that type of team to walk into the Super Bowl and just automatically win. They didn't. They went up against a really good Eagles D-line, and they got crumbled. To me, it looked like they didn't even have a plan. Like, I don't know. I really don't. The people are going to question the Chiefs now for the next couple of years on why they couldn't get this win. 2 years ago, for some reason, 2 years ago, the D-line struggled so badly against the Chiefs. And now all of a sudden, 2 years later, the Eagles D-line is the reason why they won. Eagles got their revenge. To begin this 3-peat narrative was against the Eagles 2 years ago. They won. The Chiefs did. And the Eagles had that was a tough game to watch because the Eagles had a very shaky call that did not go their way. That pretty much sealed the game for the Chiefs. So it felt like a revenge story. It felt like a bittersweet moment for the Eagles to be able to once and for all just knock it off. Not only were they able to stop the Chiefs, not only were they able to get their revenge game, but they were also able to end the 3-peat narrative. So for all the Philly fans out there, thank you for so much. Thank you again so much for rooting on this team. Thank you, Eagles, for playing the way you did against the Chiefs. As a Bills fan, I could not be happier to see the Chiefs lose. The last thing I'm going to say is that Travis Kelce could potentially be retiring. That's the rumor right now going around, is that he has played his last game of football. I have no idea. Again, guys, let the rumors to bed. Just stop with the rumors. Just wait until news comes out to talk about it. With that, there's a lot of other things that have happened. So, Travis Kelce might be retiring. Yes. Outside of the Bills free agency, Kellen Moore, who is the Eagles offensive coordinator, he just signed with the Saints. He's gonna be like their new head coach. So that's something to look at as well. And then the Bills, the athletic trainer who saved Damar Hamlin's life. He just signed, and I'm trying to find the team that he signed to. The trainer that he signed with, the Panthers. The Panthers hired the athletic trainer that saved Damar Hamlin's life. So he is no longer on the Buffalo Bills anymore. Sorry to see him go. Thank you so much for all that you've done. You, by all means, deserve to go pick up a bigger contract. You deserve more money. And thank you for what you've done for the Bills organization. And then there's one other thing I was going to say, and I completely Aaron Rodgers. Pretty much been confirmed at this point that the Jets are going to be walking away from Aaron Rodgers. They will be releasing him and picking up somebody else. So I think most of his money is guaranteed. So Aaron Rodgers got a pretty good contract. Didn't play half the games he was supposed to, and it's going to walk away with a lot of money. So anybody feeling bad for Aaron Rodgers and his stunt with the Jets, don't, because I don't think he's going to retire, and he just got a lot of money. I have no idea where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. But again, that is just another piece of news to look at as well. with all that being said, we are going to wrap up this live. Thank you a lot for everybody that has tuned in today. Again, as we move into week by week, not only am I going to be implementing new things to the show, there's going to be a lot less news coming out. I'm going to try to find as much to talk about as possible. I'm going to try to hold back on a lot of the rumors. I might address them, but I'm not going to overly excite myself. But as the seasons are ending, there's gonna be a lot less to talk about. But with that, I'm going to try to find as much content. I will try to make sure that every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I have something to come to the table with. At least find 30 minutes to talk. But with that, there's also exciting opportunities to do other things with the channel. So I'm, be on the lookout. Again, if you haven't already, make sure that you follow YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok. I'm on all those platforms. Try to stay updated with the what's going on. I will be posting as much as possible. And then on my downtime, I'm also going to be focusing on how the channel will be progressing from here. I got a lot of goals for this channel by the end of the year. And last but not least, even if you're not interested in watching the show, even if or if you do like the show so much and you want other people to watch it, please make sure that you are sharing the channel with as much people as possible. This show only goes as far as you guys let it. Not only that, but the show is for you guys. It's not just for me. Make sure that you continue to like the videos, like the posts, and subscribe and follow to all of my platforms. I hope you all have a really good night, and I will see you next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. I'm just going to tune in real quick one more time because I promised you guys that I would not forget, and yet I did. The Buffalo Bulls are currently leading 32-21 against Northern Illinois. They are at the halftime right now. So, again, they are leading by 11 points, 32-21. I am so sorry that I forgot, even though I promised that I wouldn't. Anyway, now everybody have a really good night, and I will see you next week.